Elizabeth was the third of Henry VIII's children to succeed him. The reigns of her half-brother, Edward VI, and half-sister, Mary I, had been disasters, which left England in debt and political and religious turmoil. First, Elizabeth dealt with religion. Her sister's rule had left a country divided between Protestants, angry at their treatment under Mary, and Catholics, angry that Elizabeth was a Protestant. Elizabeth tried to please both sides with her religious settlement. In the Act of Supremacy, Elizabeth hinted that she would be more tolerant than Henry VIII by choosing the title Supreme Governor of the Church of England instead of Supreme Head. The Act of Uniformity introduced a new Protestant prayer book, but kept some Catholic traditions. This broadly pleased both sides, but some Catholics were still angry. A series of plots followed, attempting to topple Elizabeth and replace her with her Catholic cousin, Mary, Queen of Scots. In 1570, the Pope encouraged the plotters by declaring Elizabeth a heretic. Elizabeth's advisers begged for Mary to be executed, but she refused. Elizabeth feared the reactions of Catholics at home and abroad, and believed that only God could judge a monarch. When the Babington plot was foiled, it became clear that Mary was actively involved, so Elizabeth finally agreed to Mary's execution. Elizabeth was advised by Parliament, her Privy Council, and a handful of closer advisers, but having strong ideas of her own, they frequently clashed. Her advisers were desperate for her to marry, but Elizabeth had seen the damage done by her father's obsession with heirs and succession, and how Mary I had lost power to her husband. So she stayed single and cleverly used her image as the Virgin Queen in portraits and propaganda. In later years, Elizabeth's tight control of Parliament led one Privy Councillor, the Earl of Essex, to rebel and try to seize power. He was arrested and executed. But what was it like for ordinary people living under Elizabeth? During her reign, a rising population meant that poverty, crime and begging became a problem, especially in towns. So in 1601, Elizabeth passed the Poor Law, which was paid for by charging everyone a poor rate. If you refused to pay it, you were sent to jail. Almshouses were built to give homes to the poor. Begging was banned, punishable by whipping. Private charities still contributed more to the poor than Elizabeth's changes did, but her Poor Law did last for the next 200 years. Foreign exploration also blossomed during Elizabeth's reign, with Sir Francis Drake circumnavigating the globe. However, Drake and other sailors funded themselves through piracy, raiding Spanish property in the New World. This angered Philip II of Spain. A marriage rejection, their religious differences, and Elizabeth's support of Dutch rebels goaded Philip until in 1588 he sent an enormous fleet of ships to invade England. But his armada was defeated by British bravery, bad weather, and Spain's frankly terrible battle plan. Among many other errors, Philip's plan relied on English Catholics rising up against Elizabeth. But thanks to the religious settlement, they stayed loyal. Elizabeth's unique skills and her use of propaganda and brilliant oratory had turned her into one of the most loved monarchs in all of British history.